Hi everybody, Gerone Wright here again. And yes, what you are looking at is a painting by an identified artist of Jesus emerging from his sarcophagus. And you'll see a few soldiers here laying down at his at the foot of his sarcophagus there, which actually they're supposed to be guarding. Okay, do I have another image of that? I thought I had it. Well, anyway, that the image and depiction that you see there. Here's another one here. This I was running out of ink on this one, but it's a very popular image that you'll see in a lot of Renaissance artists' artwork. And there's another one there. I was running out of ink, but you can get the idea. There's Jesus there, and he's standing on top of his sarcophagus in that image, and then you see the soldiers actually sleeping there, which actually had supposed to have fallen asleep. Now, that's the ancient biblical story of what is actually being depicted there now. Now, I'm interested in bringing you the true meaning of what you're seeing depicted here and what other people knew but suppressed from you and keeping you from knowing the truth there. So you probably saying, well, Gerone, you wasn't there, or you wasn't in the artist's mind. How in the world do you know that? Well, through my paranormal experience and encounter and knowing the truth about ancient biblical true meaning and why it even exists in the first place, which is I found to be referencing that of the genetic manipulations and genetic brain bridgings of mankind, then the logic behind understanding what is being depicted here comes very easily. And as I'm going to show you, and I'm going to make sense of an image that otherwise would not make sense. First of all, you see Jesus is in a cutaway there, shown as a cave. Notice that there. First of all, what is showing, this represents the founding stones, the founding building blocks of that of man, which represents the ape, black man, and it's showing you how Jesus emerged genetically from all of that and was reborn. He emerged from something that was ancient and purposely genetically bridged to overcome. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. Here, do I have a? Let me get another. Yeah, I got some here. Let me put these up in here. Let me show you what Jesus is actually really trying to tell you here, people. Jesus is actually trying to tell you this. You see that? This is a giant stone penis with a being there in the middle, okay, which has not been proven to exist, but I can almost guarantee you that he did, based on everything that I've actually been finding. And most of these mythical beings that are actually depicted in the same scenarios did at one point or another did exist, and I can actually show you that as well too. Jesus, this image here, this giant penis with this being up in the middle, it signifies a symbolic symbol that what is today is actually carrying the genetics of this which was anciently yesterday. It's the same thing that Jesus is telling you here. And here's where Jesus is outright, an artist is telling you outright here, where Jesus is hanging on the cross, and you see that giant penis. Can you see that giant penis here? Let me bring that in closer for you, for those that that can't see, that is a penis right there. And you see at the testicle, which are the balls, that they are attached. Each testicle is shown tied into the tasseling that is in Jesus' clothing, which represent that of Reptilian. So you probably say, well, Jerome, how do you know that that actually represents Reptilian? Let me back. Well, I know that that represents Reptilian, not just because I knew it outright through my experience and / encounter, but it seems that even the Vatican knows it. Because, hold on, I gotta back this off some. At Nervi Hall, which is named, the hall is named after the creator of the building, the Ferenzi sculpture shows us, there's the Pope down there at the bottom, there, and Jesus is hanging in this mask up here, and I made these discoveries in the sculptures, which is encryptions telling of the origins, which later called for likenesses of mankind and that of Jesus, and it shows you where these bloodlines came from and where they originated from. And I have a video on this here. Now, until I've actually released it in videos a few weeks ago that there were reptilian apes, there was never no talk of such. There's a reptilian ape bloodline, and it is shown right here, and I've shown it in other videos, but I don't want to get sidetracked here now today, people. But there is a reptilian ape there, and what creates his cranial is 2 penises. That's where that separation in the cranial line, and it tells you these different genetics and where they came from and where they're going, and it's all could be read into this, because this is a genetic grail of how bloodlines were created and still being manipulated today. And these people know about it, and they continue to use their bodies as genetic sacrifices, as Jesus did, to genetically bridge that of genetics of mankind continuing today. Now, let me keep going here. I don't want to get sidetracked because I only have half an hour here. Now, where we at? I got my pointer. Oh, here's my pointer right here. So, founding stone, that of blackman, which was the strongest genetic, that of the ape, shows you that Jesus emerged from that. So how did Jesus emerge from that? The same way that this guy is telling you that he did it, through the penis. And that's what Jesus is telling you there. So, you ever heard the phrase that you can defeat an army without ever lifting a sword? You heard that phrase before, right? Well, it's my position that that is being stated here. Okay? Let me see what we have here. We have, what we can see here is 1, 2, 3, what's that? 4 here I'm seeing. I thought there was about 5 or 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there are 4. I see 5 there. Okay, I see 5 there. I see 5. So, and there might. Oh, there's another soldier back here. There's 6 soldiers there. All right. It's my position that these differently clad soldiers represents different empires. And by you seeing them sleeping, I think that, well, let me say not think. I know by you seeing them laying down shows them as being defeated. How were they defeated if Jesus did not lift a hand to defeat them? The biblical story has it that they were sleeping and guarding his carcass, and guarding his sarcophagus or whatever, his tomb in the caves. It's my position that the biblical reference of this is that they were not sleeping in the literal sense, but they were sleeping in the sense of being genetically sleeping and overcame genetically, meaning that in Jesus' death, he had already defeated them because he was within them. So how did Jesus get in them? Well, it's my position. Well, I'm going to rewrite biblical history, by the way, ancient history, is that the journey of Jesus, his disciples, Mary Magdalene, all of them that actually was with him on his journeys, that they went around almost like a biological warfare. The chemistry of Jesus' bloodline, which I have already shown you what it is, they were genetically manipulating and bridging other places. And by you seeing these soldiers laying out here, these are the places, these empires, that Jesus genetically affected or contaminated with his disciples. It's my position that they did this through homosexual acts, bisexual acts, and by any means necessary genetically to infect and contaminate genetically these other empires. So these soldiers lay defeated because those that know the true story, the genetic bridging story and manipulation story of Jesus, know that he genetically defeated them, not in the physical sense, but in the sense of that of almost like a genetic warfare, where he's defeated them through the sense of his genetics will be awakened in them. And our world today is infected by what he did back then. And this is what it is meant by he sacrificed himself on the cross. He was genetically bridged with all of these different genetics, which later called for the mass infections of all of us today, which the Vatican is still doing. And not just the Vatican. I'm jumping on the Vatican here, but this is our cause for existence. So I'm accusing everything in the world that is dealing with religion, ancient religion, have some form of knowledge as to what is happening here and everything else. And they're working together in a sense to bring these genetics together to alter mankind's, the masses of mankind's genetics, which actually we are being sacrificed in a sense because we are genetic experiments, where these people at the top know exactly what is doing and what is happening, what is wrong with us genetically, our genetic imperfections, when we are suffering from disease and plagues and all. These people actually at the top know exactly what's going on and are pretending that they're not. So let me keep going here. This represents semen, and this represents blood. It's showing you that physically Jesus is laying here dead, but genetically he has risen, and genetically he lives on. So therefore I would love to say that Jesus had never died, just like I said in my last video with him and Lord Recall. He never died, and he was genetically always been in us. Now what happens is that his genetics at the point of his death, this is why the Mayans, in the Mayan culture, in the Cambodian culture of Angkor Wat, that they talked about being genetically altered and it taking thousands of years before the effects of it and the domination of those genes actually kick in. And this is what's going on when they talk about Jesus will come back one day. Mayan king Lord Pakal would come back one day. I forget the name of that Cambodian Angkor Wat king would be coming back one day. They had it timed that they knew, based on these genetic experiments that had been going on in cult-like rituals from the beginning of time. They had an idea of when these genetics were actually going to be kicking back in and dominate the bodies that they were actually seated in. And this is what is being stated and being said. The return. If you're not ready for Jesus, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. People, when you think of it in that sense, all of a sudden, this entire image comes to light. Look at these differently clad soldiers representing 6 great empires. In some, I see 7 soldiers, all dressed differently, representing the empires of the areas that he infected with his genes and genetically bridged. So showing you that they are genetically defeated, sleeping in the sense that Jesus pulled one over on them. Sleeping in that sense, not in reality, that Jesus actually escaped and escaped from his tomb. Genetically, Jesus pulled one over on them, and he got away and defeated them. That's what this is all about, people. You see images like this and don't understand why would somebody draw Jesus and then have a giant penis in the center of his chest area, and then show him with the testicles on each line, got a tassel from his clothing, look, hooked into that. Which their clothing, I meant to tell you too, was another symbolization of the Egyptian style that Renaissance artists use. Colorings, and they mix the reference of other things. Almost like like here, I show you like when a snake sheds its skin, how they did it here. It shows you what's being stated. This is the head of a serpent, the skin. You see that? How he hung up in a mask like something you would see on Aliens, that movie The Aliens. Look at this mess. You can't even see it, but there's a horned being here. There's a horn there with the witch-like woman's face there, mother of creation, her mouth open, showing you these genetics coming up in. There's her chin, there's her eye there. And look, you can't see it. There's a horn right there, and this whole thing creates a face right there, coming around the chin, coming around the neck. This is a whole face right here. If you turn it upside down, I can give you the ape and her likeness, which I actually did in another video. This whole thing, this Ferenczi guy created this image and then took away masses to distort what is actually there. And 6,000 people sit in front of this and don't even know what the hell it is. But through my paranormal experience and encounter, I can fill in the pieces for you and read the entire thing. Isn't that a beautiful thing, people? You know what I mean? I give you Jesus. You know what I mean? Knowing the truth takes away your fear and the reality of dying and hell and heaven and all of that stuff there. I have no fear of this because I know what it means. I know what was going on. I know that this man was a bisexual, a homosexual, a pedophile, and all of the above. They did whatever it took to bridge these genetics and manipulate them. And most of the victims, believe it or not, were those of other ethnic groups, meaning that of black, Haitian. People that actually were bridged were away from these ancient genetics. Oh, I can't even show you down there. I'm at the bottom there. These genetics were bridged. And that's why you see images that are altered. Here's a painting, a perfect painting of Jesus, and shows you little boys there with their faces etched out, or colored out, meaning that it would have showed you their racial profile of who they were or how they were bridged. You see these And the reason why I'm saying that you hear me saying pedophiles and all that, you see images from Rome and Christianity of these naked angels, kids with their penises and stuff out, showing you that it seemed like it was innocence at that point, because they made it sound like it was something that was divine and all, so it seemed innocent in the sense of seeing a naked child there. But now that I'm showing you the real and true perversion behind it all, you have to look at for what it is. It's pornography. That's what it is. You have to look at it for what it is. If I'm showing you what it is, you have to look at it for what it is. People, the only way this man rose from his tomb was genetically. He genetically infected cities and every place that he actually visited. This represents our world empires. These soldiers laying down. And this is why Jesus is being commemorated today in religion. And peoples, by the masses, foolishly, idolize a being that walked this planet like they did, but in a negative path of something that is not consistent and not morally consistent with that of what we're being taught with and being taught to live by, those golden rules of religion today. This is why you hear these biblical stories about whores, about pigs, about men kissing Jesus in the mouth. These stories, people, if you look at them for what they truly are, it represents Jesus gave these people his genetics, the blood and the semen, which are representations of how genetics are being spread, almost like a common cold. Now, I can take you back earlier. I'm going to do some catacomb images of Jesus. I know this is actually upsetting for most people, because I'm giving them their beloved Jesus here and explaining away what it is he actually represents and stands for. But people, if you're not being told the truth, then don't you think that the truth should be known? I mean, you can't be mad at me for understanding the truth and bringing it to you. Do you really want to believe that through an ancient biblical story that there are 6 in this picture, and some other 7, and some other maybe more, but you see three men on this side and 3 women on that side? Do you want to believe that these people were at the tomb of Jesus and he rose in this way? Or he rose in the way that I'm telling you that they are depicted there, because it shows you the direction that Jesus not physically went, but genetically went. Women over on this side in some images with their cups out. Men on this side over here showing you different colored clothing, clothing, animals and things, showing you genetically, making genetic references of how these genetics took off after his death, or the areas that he infected, almost like an individual with AIDS. Think of him as having AIDS and giving it to everybody that you see and depicted in the image. And then that's the story of Jesus. Makes a whole lot more sense when you think of it in that sense. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at people that's showing you the truth and you don't want to accept it. Penis with testicles, and then in each testicle, the tassel lining from his clothing, which is that of Reptilian, a representation of Reptilian, going in each testicle, showing you how these bloodline is altered. Then out the side of Jesus, there's a hole poked Not in this image here, but you see there's a hole poke, and you see this person actually getting the genetics. It's showing you that there's a stab wound in the side of Jesus, and it shows you that the blood is going down here into this person. What is there not to understand about that? And here's the cross. Look, and I'm telling you that the cross doesn't mean nothing of Christianity, well, in the sense Christianity, but it means cross-referencing. His blood is shown into the cross. And then these individuals on either side, showing you that there's cross-referencing, and the cross-referencing of his blood and his semen, which is the penis. There's the blood, there's his penis, which represents semen. If the blood is going on that side, then the semen is going on this side. And it's showing you that of a Vatican individual. Look, there's the blood is shown. There's a hole punctured in the side. His blood is going on this side, showing you the color coding. Now over on this side, it's showing you that the semen. And how is it showing you that? Look at the contact made down here, showing you that the semen is going on that side. So people, I mean, again, don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. It's time to wake up. This is a wake-up call for you. This is a wake-up call for you. We're in 2012, and everything as we know it is already changing anyway. It's already changing. Not knowing who you are is already devastating enough to us, to who we truly are. Morally, you have things going on in your mind today that you don't know nothing about. Why you have certain thoughts, why you're feeling this way, why you're feeling that way. If you knew that you were genetically bridged with all of these different creatures of our world, perhaps then you can relate to what the hell you're thinking about, and why you're having these certain dreams, or why sometimes you're looking at a dog in a different way, or you're looking at a cow in a different way, or you feel genetically in some kind of way connected to something that you're in contact with, but don't know why, and why you're having these thoughts. People, this is why people in the world are going insane today, because they don't know who the hell they are. These people knew all of this. They know who you are, and capitalizing off of it. In financial markets, in inventions, in the medical fields, in the science fields, in space travel, and everything. And you're just sitting back, laying back, just the way they got you, thinking that you're supposed to be, living your life on a daily basis, giving them taxes, giving them money, and in a sense you are a slave, a genetic slave to these people, and you don't even realize it. You're a slave. And they have mastered ways to not only get to morally bankrupt you, but financially bankrupt you, and just have you just in a dissolute state of mind that you don't even see where you're going. And in a sense, in all doing this, have you fearing something that was made up to have you fear. People, you are doped. You are doped. There is a way out of all of this. There is a way out of all of this. Alright? I'm going to be bringing up more images of Jesus. I'm not going to let this man get away. He done already done enough to me, you, and everybody else. You know what I mean? And it's not just, again, it's not just in Christianity, people. It's in everything globally. Every part of the world, it is shown how genetic bridging has been conducted, and this is the cause for mankind's existence. So please don't think that one religion is now better than the other, whatever. It is all the same. It all represents the same exact thing. I don't care if you're a Buddhist. I don't care if you're a devil. I don't care what you think you are or where you come from or where you originated at. I'm telling you now that my discovery blankets it all, and it all means the same thing. If you want to know where you're going, you want to know where you need to go, if you want your identity, look at my videos here. Look at my videos. I'm on the right track to knowing where everything needs to be and where we need to be. Look at everything that I have here. And I can tell you who you are, where you came from, where you can go, and give you your identity, your peace of mind. And that's where everything begins at. Alright, my name is Gerone Wright. I'm out. You're on my Geronification channel. If you haven't seen all of my videos, please do. I think this is my 75th video, but I do know I have 70 plus. So look at my videos. And please don't be upset because I'm doing this to Jesus. Jesus did this to himself, people. He didn't die on the cross for your sins. He died on the cross for genetic manipulation and bridging of that of selfishness of other people's. My name is Gerone Wright.